crochet a top with me, and this one is for my friend. I've already used this pattern before, so it was quite easy for me to just sit and kind of power through it, but yeah, it's gonna be a while, and thanks for joining me. This is an adapted version of the Flora Bloom set top by Paul Sabo Studio on Etsy. It's a filet crochet top that comes in a set with a long skirt as well. I just made the top because it's a bit easier. I also adapted it so it would have a solid panel across the bust and then be filet crochet the rest of the way. As I mentioned before, this is my second time making it. I've made one for myself which is red, and I showed it to my friend and she was like, I need that, so I made her one in blue. Altogether, this took me about 4 days of on and off crochet, before work, after work, before bed, on my weekends, just finishing it because I needed to get it done for a specific date. I watched a lot of true crime and dramas whilst I did this. But whilst my background noise was history of crime, I wanted to share a brief history about crochet. And I was doing some research and I liked the explanation by motherknitter.com. The true origins of crochet are shrouded in mystery and remain largely undocumented. Some sources suggest that crochet originated in Arabia, where it spread along the Arab trade routes to other parts of the Mediterranean. Others claim crochet has roots in indigenous South American tribes. Another theory suggests crochet evolved from Chinese needlework technique that spread to Turkey, India, Persia, and North Africa. However, the development of widespread popularity of crochet as we know it today is attributed to European immigrants to the US in the 19th century. However, there are some needlework techniques of yore that are still practiced and are widely believed to be precursors to crochet. Two such techniques are shepherd's knitting and tambour embroidery. My god, when I tell you, there was a phase in my life where all I wanted to do was learn how to do tambour embroidery. I ended up learning because that's just another hobby that will be used for 2 months and then forgotten about, and it was an expensive one because you need the big ass frames, and I was just like, oh no, I'm not going to do that because that's going to be expensive, and if it's only going to be an obsession for a week, I don't want to invest too much. But yeah, tambour embroidery was something on my to-do list that I really wanted to do but never end up doing. Let me continue with a little bit more history. So the oldest form of crochet is the slip stitch crochet, but that's the term we currently use, but it was known as shepherd's knitting in the British Isles, that's where I live, and had other names in other languages. The technique was used by shepherds to pass the time whilst tending their flocks in Northern Europe, using long straight needle hooked at the end to manipulate wool and other fibres. The hooked end allowed shepherds to pull the yarn through the loops and create intricate designs. This is similar to modern crochet. This is a widely recognised precursor technique to crochet. However, there are differences between shepherd's knitting and crochet. So crochet is usually worked with one hook and has loops and knots, while shepherd's knitting uses a hooked needle to pull through the yarn through a series of loops. So I guess that's a little bit like Tunisian knitting, I think. I've not tried it, or Tunisian crochet. I've not tried it before because I'm a knitter, but I also crochet, and I feel like that would just confuse my brain. Like crochet, the true origins of shepherd's knitting remain unknown. In the Mother Knitter article, it kind of jumps forward to crochet today, so I'm going to read a little bit about that, but obviously if you're watching this, you'd probably like crochet and know a lot about crochet in the modern age. I'm also going to leave a link down to the full article so you can kind of read it yourself as well. In the early 20th century, the rise of mass-produced goods led to a decline in the popularity of handcrafts like crochet. However, in recent years, crochet has made a comeback, especially amongst young people who are discovering it as a means of self-expression and accomplishment. Additionally, crochet has become an affordable hobby as the necessary supplies are widely available and relatively inexpensive. With the rise of social media and online communities, it's easier than ever to connect with other crocheters, share patterns and ideas, and find inspiration. The vibrant online crochet community has also made it easier for people to learn how to crochet, with numerous tutorials and video resources available for free online. And I will attest to that. The first time I tried to learn how to crochet, my friend came to my room in uni and she bought her supplies and she showed me how to do a magic loop. To this day, I still struggle, but it just was not clicking. And then in the pandemic, I picked up the hook that she gave me, and I watched a couple of YouTube tutorials, and boom, I had it. And now look at me doing filet crochet. But that's enough about the history of crochet. Let's talk about some of the stuff, because we still have a lot of minutes to crochet, because I wanted to do this as a start to finish video. So yeah, my history with kind of the fibre arts is a little bit funny. I started to knit because of Dodie Clark, Dodie Odie. That's what her channel used to be. Doddle Oddle, I think. Yeah, Doddle Oddle. That's what her channel used to be. And she used to do like Vidas, like vlog every day in August, vlog every day in April. And I think there was one where she was making a knit bunny or like something for like a friend. And I watched her do this and I was like, that looks like so much fun. And so that very same day, I rummaged my mum's room because she had some knitting needles that she never used. I rummaged her room, found some knitting needles. She used to do my hair like with braids, but like with wool. Just because we were poor and expression is expensive. Like obviously she'd do expression for like school terms, but then in like summer she'd do it with wool. So we had wool in the house, so I grabbed her hair wool and then I used it to do my knitting. So yeah, that same day I essentially taught myself just how to do like the plain like knit, and I kind of went on a roll from there. I wanted to make blankets, I wanted to make jumpers, I wanted to make scarves, I wanted to make everything. So I did kind of go on a like bit of a shopping binge for my own yarn. So I ended up with like tons of yarn, but what I didn't realise early on is that dark yarns are really hard to work with because you can't really count the stitches as easily as lighter yarns. I still have a massive bag of dark navy yarn that I've just not been able to use properly. Like I've tried to get through it now, but yeah, it was a difficulty to start off with. But yeah, my knitting journey kind of took me down the path of learning how to make clothes. So since I started, I've now made sweater vests, sweaters. I really want to make a dress one day, but I have frail hands, like to the point where I was wearing compression gloves for a while. Yeah, my wrists are very fragile, and yeah, knitting takes it out of me, but I love it. You know when you do something that hurts you so bad, but you can't stop because you love it so much? That's me in knitting and crocheting. But yeah, I have a wrist brace for when I decide to knit and it gets to a point where my wrists kind of hurt, I have that ready to go. But yeah, enough about that. So I've made the sweater vests, I've made like jumpers, I've made tops, it's mainly tops, I think. I haven't really branched out into bottoms, but yeah. That's on my to-do list. I have a pattern for these really cute crochet shorts that I want to make. Haven't had the time to. But I think now that I'm like learning how to like crochet other things, like the filet crochet that I've done, first I was like really confused. What is filet crochet? Then it turns out I've done it before. I made one of those like sweaters that are like kind of mesh type, and that's essentially just filet crochet. And I was like super like, oh, when it clicked in my head, I was like, I do know how to do this. And yeah, as you can see here, as you can kind of see the squares now, this is where I'm like really getting into the filet crochet. I'm about to start like following the pattern and kind of like getting into it. Because this is like an adapted pattern, plus the pattern I was following didn't have like a back, it was like a backless pattern. I'm doing this like flat design, so everything's kind of like long and straight because I adapted the pattern so I could have more coverage on the back and like straps at the back to tie into a bow, but with like no open likeness in the back, just because that's not a style that I like personally. So I wanted to make sure I was comfortable and my friend was comfortable in the shirt that I was making her. Because of adapting the pattern, I did have to make a couple of extra calculations to make sure I had enough thread for like the sides and the back, where the original pattern didn't have it. And then for the pattern, because I was starting with a little bit more, it kept getting a little bit off center, just where the extra like bits were. But because it was kind of all off center, it all made sense in the end. So yeah, that was fine. But yeah, this was like a massive-ish project to initially start with, just where I wasn't kind of, it hadn't clicked in my mind yet, but then it did click, and then I was able to easily recreate it like a month later. I wanted to talk a little bit about finding good knitting and crochet patterns. Me personally, I love going on like yarn websites where they kind of sell yarn, because they will have some patterns. Like Love Crafts has a lot of like free patterns that you can download. I can't remember, Lion Yarn, they have a brand of like patterns as well, so you can go on their website, look at the patterns, and then also buy the yarn that you need for the patterns on the website at the same time as looking at the pattern. I've got their like American flag jumper, which I don't really want to make the American flag jumper now. Like before it was like, oh my god, slay the house down boots, and now it's like I don't think I want to wear anything with a flag, American, British, any. No flags for me, thank you very much. But they have the folklore cardigan, and I really want to make that. And I did start making it, and then I lost track of my rows, so I have to restart making that because I don't trust myself to know where I was and pick that right up. I also really like Wool in the Gang's patterns, because they have some paid ones and they have some free ones, but they also sell full kits where you get the pattern, the yarn, the needles, everything you need to make the item, and they do both knit and crochet. But yeah, there's so many resources out there. But yeah, I really like when I can go to like a yarn website and it will give me the pattern and the exact yarn that I need to make the pattern. Sometimes you can kind of guesstimate based on what you already have, because I have a lot of yarn at home. Like, I have a massive bag in my attic, and I've sold some of it on Vinted secondhand, where it's like I had a job lot come in and there were some colours that I knew I'd never use, so I sold those on. Those have gone, but I still have a lot to go through. And the reason I have a lot to go through is because I never bought enough yarn for anything. Like, I would buy like 1 or 2 balls because I was like, oh, this is such a pretty colour, let me just buy 1 or 2 in case I need to make something with it later. But maturing is realising you're going to need a lot more than just 1 or 2 balls for a project unless you're making like a scarf. I'm trying to make more than a scarf, so like these tops, these took me 3 to 5 balls for me and my friend. So 1 or 2 was not going to cut it either way. When I made my filet crochet jumper, that took me about 6 balls because crochet takes up more yarn than knitting. And like when now what I'm trying to do is like reduce my consumption by not just buying it because it's pretty, but if I am going to buy it because it's pretty, I'm going to buy enough of it. You get me? If I want to like make a jumper, if I see something and I'm like, oh, this could make a nice jumper, I'm upfront having to buy like 6 balls of yarn to make the full jumper instead of just buy 2 and then hope to come back for it later, because it might not be there later. And I think that's the kind of mindset you have to have as a creator. You need to be thinking ahead. Like with like sewing and fabrics, you can just buy like a couple meters, and sometimes it's super cheap, sometimes it's not, and that will like do you for like a dress or a skirt or a top. With knitting, depending on the pattern you end up choosing, you could use a lot more, you could use a lot less. Like, I still have a couple of the balls from making these tops in my drawers. I'm going to use those for something else, and I'm going to love using them because they're such pretty colours. Like, one of them's like this really gorgeous burgundy, and twice I have come up with like their This Is For stuff, and they've been wearing like a really rich burgundy crochet set. So when they come to England next year, hopefully I'll get my ticket, I might just recreate one of their outfits because I have the yarn already and I've got enough of it to make another top. So I could make another top, or I can make a skirt to go with the top I've already got. But yeah, it's thinking ahead that kind of saves you from disaster, I think, when it comes to crafting, knitting, crocheting, any kind of crafting really. And boy, do I know crafting. Honestly, I've got clay in my house, I've got sewing stuff in my house, I've got paper crafts, I've got photography stuff. Like, I have cyanide, I have cyanotype inks to like the chemicals you need to make cyanotypes, because I love playing around with creative arts. I love to make things. I love to just breathe life into fabric and like paper and like just everything. Like, I feel like when I'm getting into this like meet the maker thing, I really want to kind of explore what you can make, you know? Like, obviously practice makes perfect, but we all start from somewhere, and if I can make a series of videos that like kickstart someone's creative career because I wanted to try glass blowing, or I wanted to try ring making, or I wanted to try I don't know, jumping from a plane. I probably won't jump from a plane, but you get what I mean. I just want to make sure that people know that the possibilities are endless. You can really make a lot of things with little to no experience, really, because it's all about learning and mastering what you can kind of come up with. But yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to make this like Meet the Maker thing. Actually, I don't know if I said anything about Meet the Maker at the beginning of this video. Anyway, I'm going to be starting a series of videos over the course of like the next year. Probably not like back-to-back episodes, but like Meet the Maker. So I'm going to make something and I'm going to talk you through it, like I did in this video, even though this video is kind of rambly, but this is like my first one, so please excuse me. But yeah, the idea is to kind of showcase what you can do with a little bit of time. Sometimes it's talent, and sometimes it's just determination, dedication to wanting to make something. And yeah, I love making things to the point where my TikTok account, which is now all K-pop. It used to just be me making things, and I kind of wanted to get back in touch with that side of myself, because I feel like I lost something when I stopped making things. I had a blast making like little clay keychains for my website, Indigo Jams, because it was me making things, and it just felt so good to make something again. Ew, you can see my toe. Sorry about that. But yeah, it just felt so good to make something. Also, I will clarify, I do wash everything as soon as I finish making it, because, you know, I want it to be clean. Even if it's something just for me, I will just wash it afterwards, because sometimes I just chuck my crafts into a corner in my bedroom when I'm finished for the day. Sometimes I put them in bags, sometimes I put them on the side, sometimes I leave them on the dining room table. I just, until it's finished, until it looks like a real piece of clothing, it's just scrap fabric, which is really bad. But yeah, I wash everything before it goes to my friend. But yeah, as I was saying, I just want to showcase what you can kind of like make, and I feel like making is just such an intrinsic part of the human experience, which is why I really do not like AI, because it takes out the kind of thought process and the like practice of perfecting, like especially like generative AI art, it takes away the like practice of perfecting an art style and like outsources it to robots, which no thanks. But yeah, I feel like if I can encourage one person to pick up a knitting needle, pick up a crochet hook, get some clay, pick up like a weekend class of learning how to make something, I will feel like I've done the world a good, if you get what I mean. But yeah, we're nearing the end of making this top, and as you can see, we are a lot further down in the pattern. I think with this one, it didn't hurt my wrist as much as other ones that I've made, but that's because I'd already gone through the process. I kind of prepared for like what I needed to do. I feel like I have like a weird way of holding my hooks, but it is what it is. It is what it is. This is me working on like the neckline and the straps. The neckline isn't really something I like do much to, but it's making sure there's like a space to have the straps coming off and then attach to the back. But yeah, almost done now. I've low-key run out of talking points, so if you're still watching, leave a comment about what you're having for dinner right now, because this is like perfect like dinner time fodder, if you get what I mean. This is me checking the space needed to go from arm to like back. But yeah, what are you having for dinner? Me personally, I had roti. I just had the like roti bread, and yeah, that's all I had for dinner, which is probably bad, but I had Nando's for lunch, so I was a bit full anyway. But yeah, I would love to know what you had for dinner. And if you're a crafter yourself, I want to know what you last made, or like what was your first craft, because my first craft was literally just like a black square. My craft looked like Instagram in 2020, if you get what I mean. You can kind of see the pattern when I lifted that up, but yeah, one sleeve is done, one strap is done, and like one like lace at the back. So yeah, this is me finishing up. Right, I believe I'm on the last little bit here. So this top was for my friend, and I think she liked it. I managed to get it done in time before the event we were both going to, which was Ranjin back in August, I think. Was it end of July? I think it was August, yeah, August 6th. This was for me to hand to her at Ranjin, and I think she liked it. She sounded like she liked it when it was all done. But yeah, she ended up having to tighten it a little bit, but that's because I'm really bad at maths, so I got my measurements a touch wrong. Plus, I wasn't able to like have her try it on in the process because I was making it kind of blind. But it wasn't too much of an alteration that she had to do, and for that, I'm very happy. It was only little, and I think she just added like a button to it instead of using this tie strap. So yeah, all's well that ends well in Craftland. But yeah, this is it done, and yeah, a closer look at the crochet, pretty much, and the pattern is like really simple flowers. But yeah, I really liked it, and I really had a fun time making it, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you for watching this video. Me and my son say goodbye. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and if you want to find me anywhere else, just find me on TikTok or Instagram at NewRomantic with an X instead of an O in romantic. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day, and bye.